All right, you ready to cook this turkey?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. We start. Two, one. Welcome everybody to Geekvice, episode 231, proving any vice with enough geek can become a virtue. My name's Morph. That man's Kip. Good evening, Kip.
Good evening.
As I need of the stupid bar the no, Skype hands underneath.
Yeah,
No more Skype hands. So, how you doing, Kip?
I am doing all right. How about yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad. Week. It's been a busy week. It was a long weekend. A nice 3-day weekend, except really wasn't all that long. But had soccer tournament this weekend. So Reese, my oldest one, had 4 soccer games to play in Friday, Saturday.
Damn.
That meant all the stuff that you would normally try to get done on the weekends got pushed into Monday. So Monday, I replaced the faucet on the bathtub because the diverter had broken. So that means the shower didn't work. Then I mowed the yard, and then I had firewood delivered. So I had to move a cord of firewood out of the truck.
Sounds very productive.
It,
So take all that stuff you did and do the opposite of that, and that's what I
See, that's why I love talking to you about the stuff you did because I always go like, oh, I wish I could have done.
did. Yeah, but then you don't step outside and look at your yard and go, should have mowed it.
No, I did that on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, finally on Monday.
Yeah, I
All
was
my
gonna I was
neighbors.
gonna mow it. I was gonna mow mine on Monday and just didn't happen.
So what did you do all weekend?
Oh man.
Because I mean, you beat your Bloodborne.
Sadly, now that I've beat Bloodborne, I haven't felt like playing a video game.
You know that happens sometimes. Just feel
It's
that like
weird.
that
I
sense of
downloaded,
accomplishment.
yeah, the one of the free games for the month of September was Destiny 2.
Yeah.
So I downloaded that, played it for about 10 minutes, turned it off. Um, that was pretty much it of my video gaming for the weekend. For a 3-day weekend, I got about 10 minutes in. So the Bloodborne depression is going full
Real.
bore. It's
It's
real.
it's real.
The
It's
struggle is
real.
real. I Saturday I settled in for one of the most disappointing college football Saturdays in the history of the world.
Why? Like why? Because
I always
Nebraska.
wanted to wait for that.
Like I mean, I thought this
So
was supposed to be a good year for Nebraska.
it was their game got canceled because of the weather.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh no,
I
that's
can see
funny.
you're a big college football fan.
No, I'm well. I was at the soccer fields all weekend, so I really didn't see a whole lot of anything. I missed the sporting games. I missed all the college football games. I missed everything. Soccer field on AstroTurf in the middle of
Yeah.
it wasn't
So
pleasant.
I
Did they have storms in Nebraska?
yeah.
Really?
It's rained a lot up there,
Okay. I didn't
like
realize this.
inches of rain.
Has
I had
anyone
a
checked
meeting.
on Eddie?
I haven't talked to Eddie, but I talked to somebody in Lincoln today, and they had 3 and 3/4 inches of rain in their rain gauge
Oh man.
from Saturday alone.
Wow.
Yeah,
We need some of that down here. Do you just
yeah.
like
Well,
ship it down here?
as long as we don't get any big wins or anything, I'm good with that. Uh, so I suffered, first world problems through some pretty shitty football games, waiting for Nebraska to play at 7 o'clock, and then it got pushed to 7:15 because there was a lightning strike within what's the radius, 8 miles.
Yeah.
So they pushed it to 7:15, and it's like yes. And then the game it started. They showed the tunnel walk. They got you're all excited, and then all of a sudden they all started running off the field.
Oh
Like
no.
what the hell? And it's like, well, there was another lightning strike, and it has to go 30 minutes after the last lightning strike before they can play.
Oh.
And finally, about 10 o'clock, they canceled the game.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So, Fox, it's on Fox, so they try to give
Did
you games, you
they
know.
fill the void with poker?
No, they filled the void with first Baylor and somebody. And then I guess they decided people were bored enough with that, so they switched it over to Arizona State and somebody. I can't remember who it was,
Another
but
intriguing matchup.
yeah, it's like, wow. We went from a game I've waited 10 months to see to two games I could really care less about.
Right.
So, yeah, it was pretty disappointing. And then the best part of the whole day was, well, it's good and bad. So I made a bunch of stuff. It was like just football watching food.
Yeah.
Um, I make the sub sandwich that we toast in the oven and made that and uh, threw a bunch of stuff together. I decided to make nacho cheese for the first time without using Velveeta.
Ooh.
So here's a pro tip:
Yeah.
don't use almond milk.
Oh.
It was awful.
Have a little too much almond flavor to it.
Oh my god, it was terrible.
You don't want
But it was the only milk I
almonds
had in the
in
house.
nacho.
So yeah. So pro tip: no almond milk in your nacho cheese.
Oh.
So I had to dump a pretty good size thing of nacho cheese in the trash. So that was the downside to all the food we made. But that was pretty much the exciting day of the whole 3-day weekend, if I'm being honest with myself.
Yeah. No, we didn't. We we ate out a lot because by the when after you spend 3 hours watching a soccer game, or not really watching, so we had one game Friday night at 8 p.m. and then that game was over. We just came home and went to. And then Saturday we started at noon, and then we had a game at like 12:15 and another game at 4:30. Well, there's no point in us driving all the way back home. It's in Overland Park, half-hour drive back home, another half-hour drive back out there. By the time we got home, we were gonna be home for maybe an hour, and we were back to the field. We're like, let's just stay up there. So we stayed up there. 4:30 was the second game by so that was over by 5:30. So by the time we were leaving, like 5:45, leaving the fields, we've been up there, since 11. So we'd been like 6 hours worth of being up there. We're like, neither one of us wanted to cook anything. We're like, we're gonna go out to eat. Went out to eat dinner, then went out with some friends on Sunday night. But Monday we had steaks for dinner.
Oh, nice.
Nice porterhouse. Went over to our neighbor. Actually got to hang out with Princess Jossie across the street. Got to go to bed. She's got school tomorrow. So, Yeah, I got to hang out with them, which was nice because after being like stuck at the soccer field all day, and I love soccer, I love being out there, but man, it was hot and on AstroTurf it gets hotter, and so it was. By the time it was all done, I was like, I am glad to not. I made it good. Um, yeah, I have watched a couple of new movies. Well, not new movies. They were new to me. I hadn't seen them before, but they were saw the movie Bolt about a
Okay.
superhero dog. Watched. We actually just watched and finished it tonight. Peter Rabbit, with
Okay.
Corden, James Corden as the as Peter Rabbit. Rabbit. And that was actually pretty fun. Actually enjoyed that one. That had some nice. I mean, James Corden's comedy is special breed. Gotta like it. I find him really funny. I thought the movie.
He's the guy that interviews celebrities, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And he does like the late night show or something. He's a British guy.
Yeah.
He's he'll do like the like celebrity karaoke or whatever bar. So he'll have celebrities in the bar and they'll be. So he's a funny dude. I like him. I recommend it.
Cool.
Um, but really, we should get into the more important thing and kind of the reason for this episode. The whole meat and potatoes of this thing um is about board games. We like board games, like a lot of board games. There's one type of board game I haven't been able to buy off on. I just haven't been able to just don't understand where the where the value in them lies. Skip hasn't played them either, and they're called Legacy. So I you had found this blog about nonstop tabletop that talked about legacy board,
Yep.
and I thought their description of a legacy board game really perfect. So I kind of want to read this. It I don't know who it's by. I don't know who does nonstop table. This article is actually really. This description is really good, but it says a legacy game is an ongoing or serialized board game that changes each time it is played. Player decisions lead to new rules being unlocked, cards being permanently destroyed, and the board altered by being written on or plastered with stickers. Actions have consequences, which carry over into future games, giving every decision added weight. Often, a narrative element is added that makes a legacy game feel more akin to a serialized TV show than a tabletop experience. In short, decisions matter and permanently alter the game itself. The definition can vary as the genre is still considered in its infancy, with multitudes of variations sure to follow. So, I thought that was really good. I thought that explained kind of what that explained what I thought of Legacy, what a Legacy game was. I got into some conversations on Facebook in a board game group on Facebook that I started having these questions, started asking these questions about legacy board games and people that had played them because I wanted to find people that had done this. And one of the conversations that was brought up was, well, what consider a legacy board game? And that description describes it exactly. Anything that alters one, anything that you play multiple sessions or through one extremely long session where you alter the board, cards, the mechanic, not the mechanic, but like the material. It's whether it changes the rules, whether it changes the board, whatever. That to me, that's a legacy board. That match up with what you consider a legacy board game.
Yeah, it does. I often think of it as the board game version of D&D.
Yeah.
You make decisions that affect your character. You know, you level up. There's just permanent changes. Uh, it's like you can't put the genie back in the bottle, kind of a thing, is the way I always looked at it.
Yeah.
Um, I'll go ahead and go on record. I'm There's two reasons I have not purchased or played a legacy board game, and we can go into these when we talk about the results of our survey. But my first one is you got to have the same people playing the game.
Yeah.
And when I was 13 or 14 years old, that would have been a piece of cake. Now that I'm not 13 or 14 years old, it's really hard to get the same exact people to show up.
Yeah.
I have a pretty regular group that plays on Thursday nights, but it's not always the same people. It's not always the same number of people. And playing a legacy game, I think, would kind of fall flat because it wouldn't get to the table as often as it needs to be to keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. And you talked about the questionnaire that I sent out. I This was out on Twitter. It was out on our Facebook page. I put it in some podcast arcade people Facebook page. So if you didn't see it, that's because you're not looking for it because it was everywhere. Um, but we had quite a few responses, which is really nice. And so some of the reasons that other people had said that had kept them from playing a legacy board game was bad reviews. Um, they not having gaming friends or having gaming not ready to commit to a game that takes many regular sessions to play through, and
Yep.
time was another one. Lack of people to play, finding a group willing to play all necessary sessions. That was the common, like, finding people to play things. I would think that would be hard to do. I mean, heck, we had a hard time with our D&D group play regularly, and so much so that I had to bow out of it. Couldn't couldn't commit enough. Um, so I, I would think that would make legacy games really hard. The thing to me, because I wouldn't mind playing one of these legacy games, like doing it at my house with kids where I could play, because we kind of treated Mice and Mystics almost. We treated it as a campaign and less as a legacy because
Right.
we didn't permanently alter the game way. We played the same. We would played the same game. What changed? Um, we just kept like traits and abilities. Basically treated it like D&D, where we leveled up, and so we got more stuff, and we would start the next session with stuff. And sometimes it made the level really easy. And there was luck of, well, everything could go horribly wrong. So I'm not against the idea of or having to play multiple sessions. What I am against with Legacy, or what I don't understand, and I haven't had a lot of people to explain to me, is replayability. If I'm gonna spend $60+ for a game, which some of the legacy games out there are way more than that. If I'm going to spend that much money on a game, I want to be able to play it more than once. And if you're playing a game um like Charterstone, the you alter the game completely. Like put stickers on the board and it cannot be used again. Those stickers are
You almost
gone.
said ruin the game, didn't you?
Well, you ruin the board. You can't start back over from the beginning. There's no way to start at the beginning. The board's gone. Like
Well, yeah,
and
it's the
Risk
whole you can't put the
Legacies,
genie back in the bottle.
yeah, Risk Legacy is the same way. you like mark off parts of the board. And I don't understand how that mechanic can be replayed. You are there mats that you can stick over the board so that you when you put the stickers on there, you can still pull the stickers back up, or put like do you put the stickers on a piece of contact paper or something that you can then it doesn't sit there. You could like put like a little bit of adhesive to it that's easy to pull back up. Like I was trying to think of those like window stickers, whatever that you slap to the window,
Oh
pull them
yeah,
off, and
those
yeah,
those cling.
yeah. I mean, if they made if the boards were like that, and you had those little cling sticker things to put on there, that you could then pull them back off and stick them somewhere else, so that you could still use them the next time. Maybe I would think more of them, but that's one of my biggest complaints. Like I every game that I own, I have played more than one. If I can only play a game once, even if that one time takes 10 sessions to play, but then I can never get it back out again, like a waste to me.
Well, I keep thinking back to that article that you mentioned. When I read it, I was kind of in the same boat as you. Just the thought of defacing the board,
Right?
altering it permanently, kind of gave me hives. But after reading this article, I understand a little bit more, and I get where they're coming from on some things. For one, he pointed out that you'll pay $60 for the game, and some of them take close to 20 plays to get through the campaign.
Right?
Well, I'm doing a board game challenge for the year where I need to play 5 of my games 10 times during the course of the year, and I'm not going to make it. In fact, if I get any of those games played 10 times, I will be amazed. And with that said, if I get 20 plays out of a game, I'm going to totally feel like I got my money's worth because I've got lots of games. Um, Here's one. I've played it twice. Scythe. I've played it about 5 times. Um, I still feel like they were worth the cash, but I haven't played any of them 20 times. I think the only game
Right.
I've played 20 times is Flapjacks and Sasquatches. But um, so looking at it that way, going, well, if I get 20 plays out of it, totally worth the money. And then he says you can then play the game as is in the future. And that I'd like to see how that's done. I haven't played a legacy game. So it's hard for me to speak to this. Once it's over, the campaign's over. Does it just become a board game at that point and no longer a legacy? I think it does. So I'd like to see what that looks like. But I don't think I'll ever get to play a legacy game, mainly because I can't get the people
Right.
to
Right.
play. And it's to me it's turning a board game into um I don't know. I almost said video game. It kind of is in the way that you make decisions and it affects the game
Right.
kind of permanently. But unlike a video game, you can't finish the game and then say I'm going to start a new game and everything's fresh and pristine again. It's already stickers are placed, cards are ripped. It's those things are done permanently.
Well, and I would even say I would even say that it's more like a video game, because with a video game, after you've played through it once, you already know the twists and turns. You already know some of the secrets that are going on, and that's where, to me, that's really cool for a legacy game. That's one of the things that makes me most excited about a legacy game. Secrets. Oh, You could play this game and it tells you if you do this, you get to open this box that's you haven't even looked in before. You get to open it up and all of a sudden you get something brand new. And I like that idea. But then how do you put that back in the box, play again? Like that's the part of the legacy game that I think is the that's the most intriguing. Like I'm trying to remember one of them. I think it was even Charterstone. When I was looking at that one, it was this idea that once you got to a certain spot, you would open this other box and it would have like a little addition to the rules, and then it would have like new cards that you could then mix into your deck and get to play with, and so it changed the game. I like that idea, but what I don't understand is, they the guy in this article says that you're left with a complete game that you can play at the end, but you don't have any of the surprises in. Like so, yeah, you're left with a game to play, but you're left with a game to play with all the answers already filled out. You're it's like you get to play a video game, except here's the walkthrough and here's all the secrets that are already done. So there's no more of that. It, and maybe that's what he's going at. It's a completely different game, but it it has its lost some of its luster because those parts are gone. Like, why not just play Pandemic then instead of Pandemic Legacy?
Well, yeah, see, that's the thing is your reason for playing Pandemic Legacy, I think, is different than your reason to play Pandemic. And then once you finish the campaign mode, it is just Pandemic at that point.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I replay playability is a concern for me as well. I'd like to. I wish I could sit down and play a legacy game. Our friend Jason has Charterstone, and I'm concerned that that thing's never going to get to the table because same reasons we've been mentioning, and we've beat that dead horse. But I would like to play that game, and then once we get through it, I'd like to see, is it now just put on a shelf and never brought out again? Is it
yeah,
something where like let's revisit that? That was a lot of fun. I don't know, but I'm curious to find out. It's just unfortunately it's it's a time commitment that my friends don't have. You know, I'm I don't have kids. I have time for these things, but most of my friends do. So it makes it a lot tougher for them, and I'm not taking it away from them. That's just life.
yeah,
Uh, but it is what it is. I can't say, hey, these four people I know for sure can play this game with me all the way through because that's I'm lying to myself at that point.
yeah.
I think if I had to count on the same four or five people to get 20 plays in would probably take about 4 years.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not joking. I think it
No,
would.
no,
So,
I completely get that, and it's well, and that's why like maybe down the road, my kids get a little bit older. Maybe I'll be able to play one of these because I could sit down with boys, boy playing board games once they're old enough to be able to handle some of these games because these games are not as simple as their single play alternatives of their games. Pandemic versus Risk Legacy versus um you know but um maybe then I would be able to say, okay, well, here we can do this. I want to play this game. Guys' help. Let's play this, and we can play like maybe not every day, but we can play once a week. Every Saturday night, we're gonna play, go, and we're gonna get through this. Get 20 plays in, and yeah, you're right. If it takes 10 to 20 plays to get through, then yeah, the idea of replayability maybe that's not as plays, if you're once a week and it takes 20 plays, 20 weeks, that's
Yeah, yeah.
damn near
It's
close.
it's tough. I mean, just like everything else, I look at it on the surface and like, oh, this was a bad. When Risk Legacy first came out, my gut reaction was this is a hugely bad idea.
I mean, the game
You
already
know,
takes for freaking every play anyway.
yeah, but then when I read, well, you write your name and marker on the board, so these are the people playing the game, and right away I'm like, whoa, I'm not going to be able to get the same people to play all the time.
Yeah.
Step back, Mr. Rick's Legacy. And then they talk about, well, this whole area could be destroyed, so you rip up that card and throw it away. You're like, ah.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but the more I research, the more I think that is actually a great mechanic because it's a different game than Risk.
Yeah.
It's a vastly different game than Risk, and I'm actually jealous of people who get to play them. I'm not dissing on legacy games. I'm more jealous that I can't get to play any.
And maybe that's my problem too. Maybe that is my problem, and that's why I'm so is there's no way that I have 20 weeks, let alone 20 days in any sort of like reasonable amount of time where I'd be able to play through one of these. You're
Yeah.
right. It would take me it hell it'd probably take me 20 it'd probably take me 10 years. Honestly, at the rate that I'm going right now, it'd probably take me 10 years to play through one. I you
Well,
know,
the way I looked at it is, if we're being realistic, we would shoot for once a month, and then there'd probably be 3 or 4 plays a year that just didn't happen.
yeah.
So we're looking at, well, to be conservative, we'll say 9 plays a year.
Yeah.
So that's over 2 years. So maybe 4 years was a stretch.
Yeah.
But I could also see after the first year, then then it really then more games get missed
Yeah.
because then interest wanes, and then next thing you know, you never finish it. I think is really what would happen to me,
Yeah.
and that makes me sad because I think they've got something there, and I would love to dig in, but it's just not in the cards. I'm being realistic with myself. It's not in the cards for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to kind of jump into the other people who chimed in for our little survey, this we had 85% of the people that took this survey have yet said yes, they have played a legacy board game. So 14% said no, 85.7 and 14 rounded that. Realized up when I read. I'm sure somebody was check my math. Wait a second, that was 99. Deal with it. Um, so
Rounding errors.
of the 14% that said they have not played a legacy board game, this is what kind of surprised me. Um, there was 89% of that said that no, the idea of changing the game permanently has kept you playing or buying a legacy. That is not like so everyone who know like and not everyone, but the people who took this who hadn't played a legacy board game, they weren't worried about that. It was really more about time, same people, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Um, and then the other part that I thought was actually really interesting was of the people who had played board games, how many legacy board games played, and a surprising like the the most percentage is two. People have played two legacy board games. Like then I look at that and go, holy crap! If that takes 20 plays, these guys have so much time. I want to be like them. I want to be able to play these. Um, so that really kind of surprised me that there was that large of a number. There was even there's even a few people. There was a couple people who actually said they've played four or more legacy board games. I did not ask if they had completed these legacy board games or if they were in the middle of them. Kind of curious of the people who have played four or more, if they've started that many and haven't finished.
Yeah, that'd be good to know. I just, if they have played and finished four, um, I'm just going to call them the board game elite. They're just, they're fortunate. They're in a good place that they can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and good for them. I mean,
right.
yeah, like I said, if these things would have came out when I was in high school, I probably would have played four or five of them before my high school career was up. But
Yeah, and only one person out of all the people that we surveyed, only one person did not enjoy their game. So that's me. That's pretty impressive.
that
Um,
is, yeah,
some of the thoughts that because I asked, what are their thoughts on the gaming, and we had things like I like the idea that we were affecting the game permanently. They liked and the strategies used to win on my copy would be different from someone else's idea. I like that idea. One of the one of the people really they said it really added tension to the game, which can be that can be a lot of fun. And here's a comment that kind of chimes in with exactly what you and I had kind of talked about is unlocking uh, and permanent character progression have video game qualities that you don't normally get with a board game. It kind of brings in that whole leveling aspect, which is
yeah,
is one of the reasons why I absolutely loved Mice and Mystics the way that me played that game. I even took pictures of the boards so if we couldn't get a full chapter done one sitting because I have two young children, still for very long. Uh, I could take a picture of the board, take a picture of all the cards, and that's how we were able to keep going. So I like that idea as well. So let's see what else we got. Not knowing where the game could go was very exciting. The feels of opening boxes and adding to the game adds another dimension. Each game was a different experience. Charterstone has been the best experience yet. I love the linear story that has an expected number of plays. I'm expecting Eon's End Legacy in October. That game has me very excited. The idea of a legacy campaign that becomes a standard board game. It gives me replayability at the end of the game, which I wouldn't have otherwise. Something Seafall didn't have, and Risk was very limited with. It, I thought that comment played really well, kind of both of Mike and the idea of permanently changing, but then being left with something that you play again at the end. Um, so it he flat out says it. There's games like Seafall and Risk were limited in being able to play that game at the end, which is a concern. And I'm sure some of them are better. And I'm sure as the game has this legacy, like was said before, it's in its infancy right now. It will it will grow.
yeah. As they learn the ins and outs and what worked, what didn't, they're going to be able to create a great experience and a reusable experience, which is going to be nice. Um, yeah, I'm liking that comment because I love Aeon's End, the card game.
Yeah,
So now I'm kind of curious about this legacy aspect of it as well. Again, won't buy a copy because I don't think I'll ever get it played, but I'd be curious to see how it works out.
right.
Um, I don't know. I like the idea. I like where they're going with it. Um, I think what it's going to create is this whole um, genre, if you will, of I have the same game as you, but my copy is special to me. what is in my board game is not in yours. And it kind of takes the collector mentality out of it a little bit and more makes it a um, more personal thing.
Yeah, it makes it more about the experience and less about having the.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I have a first printing of blah, blah, blah. And it's like, doesn't matter
Yeah,
because my copy is different than your copy, which is different than somebody else's copy.
yeah,
Uh, it would also be curious if you finished a game, a legacy game, and another person finished a legacy game, and then you go play their finished copy and see what the differences are. That would be fascinating to do.
would be kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just seeing how much and the different, the different quote unquote endings that you could run into. That would that would be really neat.
That
I
would be cool.
you know I really like this idea. I am really intrigued, and I think you're right. I think my problem, and I think you and I have the same problem. We have this jealousy for legacy board games. Um, you know, I, so a couple of the questions that I asked, and one of them I wish I would have worded a little bit differently. Um, but one of them was, would you play another legacy board game? Yeah, only one person said no. It says, I asked, could you play this same game again and again? Everybody said yes except one. Everyone's like, only one person said no, so they all said that they could play this same game again. What I didn't ask, and I wish I would have worded it a little bit differently, could you play your copy of the game again?
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
because I wonder how many people did answer that as I would play Risk Legacy again, but not the copy we just finished.
right, but well, I need a new copy to be able to start from the
Yeah.
just with the idea of, to me, that's what makes legacy board games so cool, is that aspect, that idea, changing the game, adding things to it. The Gloomhaven thing. Gloomhaven to me looks amazing, and I would love to play that game for a long time. Play it and put it away and get it back out and keep playing and keeping the dungeon crawl going. That's what really looks like. I would love to play that, but that's really.
Yeah. It is. And a game like that, I think as your boys get older, I would think something like that would be perfect for you,
Yeah,
for the three of you.
yeah.
It's,
So
especially since it's basically a campaign.
right.
And as much as your boys dug Mice and Mystics, I think as they got older and got into more sophisticated type of gaming, I think that'd be perfect.
Yeah. Um,
What are you doing?
different view. What game? So we've got, let's see, the games that people have thrown out there that they played. Back to it. Charterstone. There's a lot of people that said Charterstone. Gloomhaven. A couple people. Pandemic. There's actually quite a few Gloomhavens on there. Risk Legacy. Pandemic Legacy 1 and 2.
Yeah. Yeah. There was like a season one, season two kind of thing,
Okay. And
which I
several.
thought was brilliant.
Yeah. So and one person actually said Seafall twice. They've played Seafall twice. Didn't
Yeah.
say if it was their own copy, but
I just think we're going to see more things like Gloomhaven
yes,
and
I think so.
less of the Risk Legacy type, but more of a dungeon crawl, adventurer type of thing. I could be
Yeah.
wrong. There's brilliant people out there who will come up with something.
Well, and
Uh,
I would say if there were more of those out there, I would not complain because I like the idea. I I love the idea of, hey, you just reached level 2 here, pull this box out, open it up, and and you know, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. After opening those up, you could actually go back after you finish 20 plays of it. You go back and put all the stuff in there, the boxes where they need to go, put them back away, and by the time you get back to it again, start playing it again to those levels, maybe you forgot what those were, and you go, "Oh yeah, I got this ability." Like when you open it up, and you're like, "Oh, I remember how awesome this was. I need this." It's like playing a video game, and you get that, go through and play it a second time, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I got the sword. I got this loot that I've been looking for." That I remember getting this before, and how much it made the game so much more fun. Maybe that's what it's like. I don't.
Yeah, I think another place I'd like to see legacy games go is the superhero genre.
Yeah.
A Marvel or a DC game. Just think you're playing the game as Superman or something like that, and nobody knows that Clark Kent and Superman are the same person. So the game plays as like episodic. And
Yes.
then for some reason, this bad guy figures it out, and now the game is completely changed because now Superman is constantly trying to defend his loved ones because this bad guy is knowing he can't hurt Superman unless he hurts his family. Different game now. I could see something like that.
Yeah.
That would be fun, actually.
That would be really cool. That would be really. I like I like that idea. And yeah, I mean, I I'm excited to see where some of these go. I'm excited to see where legacy board games go to and how they can change the dynamic. I don't think it will ever completely remove the board game idea. Still gonna have your normal single session board game. But I like the idea of where legacy can take that genre and how that can change and tweak. And you know, I'm I would like to be
Yeah,
able to play it. Maybe someday I don't know.
yeah. I think it's got to be a conscious decision by four or five different people, which is the hard part. But if you can get it, I think you'd have a good time.
Yeah,
I think I would.
exactly right. All right,
What do you think, Nick? What do you think?
well, that I think is enough for. Got anything else you want to throw out there?
Um, so in part of my weekend of not doing anything, we did finish Jack Ryan on Amazon Prime.
Oh, really?
Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. We'll have to talk about that in the future.
Yeah, I do.
So,
I do want to talk about that in the future. I do. I very much want to talk about that. Because I've read a lot of Tom Clancy books, a very lot of Tom Clancy books. I can't say almost all of them, but I've read a crap ton of them. And Jack Ryan and the way he's been portrayed in movies has been one of my least favorite of the way they've done Tom Clancy books or books in Jack Ryan
okay.
is Jack Ryan is pathetic.
In the
Analyst.
books,
He's not he's not pathetic. He's just not the he's not the gun ho overt spy hero that the movies make that Harrison Ford makes him out to be.
yeah, he's more like what Alec Baldwin had. Yeah. Well, John Krasinski's Jack Ryan is kind of in between.
Cool. I I'm excited. We will do this, and maybe even that'll. You know what? Hey, let's hold on now. We're gonna do this right here, live on the air, everyone. Live on the air. Schedule. Seeing what we had. You know what? Guess what? We're gonna talk Jack Ryan. Jack Ryan. That's on. What is that on? That's on Amazon, right?
That is on Amazon.
Okay. And I might actually see if I have. It's free with Amazon Prime, right?
Yeah. And it's only
Check.
8 episodes, so it's not a huge commitment.
All right. Well, if that's not next week, it's going to be the week after, and I'm going to try to watch. I'm going to try to watch it.
Cool. Yeah, I'll be curious to see what you think of this version of Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
And I'm going to reserve what I thought of this TV show until we talk about it.
Perfect. Well, there you go, everybody. So now you're like some sneak peeks on what we're going to do. So enjoy, everybody, for the behind the scenes, because we got lots of other stuff coming. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Check out our blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. You can also follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/geekvice. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel on there. And I keep saying this, and it's going to happen soon because I've started getting all the things tweaked. I think there's going to start being more recording, so I'm going to get back into playing video games and recording that for YouTube. So the channel's going to start having some more videos other than just our podcast. Be sure to
Sweet.
go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Easiest way to get there. You can search for Kip and Kip Morph if you want, or you can just go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/geekvice. Left hand side, click the YouTube tab. It'll give you an option to subscribe, set your notifications, follow us, all that stuff, all straight from our Facebook page. It's pretty amazing, and it's a one-stop shop. You can also follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at Geekvice. You can follow that man over there at Kip Killian. And, oh, and of course, as always, you can reach us by email at geekvice@gmail.com. Thanks, everyone, for that did our survey, our little questionnaire on Legacy. Thank you very much. I purposely did not collect names, so I can't even give shout outs to those people. But thank you to those people that did a big help and a lot of fun. And I want to do that again in the future over other topics. And everyone else, thanks for listening to our ramblings. We'll see you next week.
Later.
This podcast is part of the Podcast Arcade Network.